Monday morning, 6:15, we're following breaking news this morning. This is a live look at the 9 Ultra Lounge. It's now a large crime scene on your Monday morning. Officers still there trying to figure out why a gunman started firing at a line of people who were waiting outside that club for a Chiefs celebration party around 11:30 last night. 2 people dead, including the shooter. At least 15 others are hurt. 3 of those people, we're told, have critical injuries this morning.
Joining us now in studio is Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas. And Mayor, this was going to be a morning talking about one of the greatest days in Kansas City history, and now we are talking about an absolute tragedy. And what's your message to the city, given that?
Well, you know, I think you put that in perfect context, which is that we can have all the successes in the world. Lots of wonderful things happen for us all the time, but problems like this keep pulling us back. And so it's why we have to stay resolved to fight gun violence, to fight the issues that lead to them. I mean, frankly, if you're thinking about it, in the Kansas City area, this is the second mass shooting at a club within probably the last 4 or 5 months.
Right.
And this is happening too much. We shouldn't get used to it once a quarter. We shouldn't get used to what you all have to report every few days a week here in Kansas City. So my condolences certainly to those. I believe a young woman was killed yesterday. There was the shooter who was a likely victim of a gunshot wound, a fatal one, but also the many who were impacted last night. And more to that, our community, because this is actually shooting that it wasn't even that far from the stadium.
Right.
And instead of everybody celebrating what was a beautiful night in Kansas City and in East Kansas City, we do have to process this.
We're coming off a very violent 2019, 149 homicide right there. We were a lot of people hoping with the new year for a new leaf potentially. Gene Peters Baker, the prosecutor there, was there this morning and called it an epidemic.
Yes.
What do you call what this is in Kansas City when we talk about gun violence?
Well, you know, she's absolutely right. It is an epidemic. It's something that needs the attention of not just all of local government, but more of us. Frankly, it becomes a regional issue. We've seen homicides in places we didn't expect. One in Leawood right before the end of the year. Certainly incidents throughout our metro. And so it requires all of our agencies working together to try to make sure we come to some solution on this. But you know, if we don't keep fighting, if we don't think we can make some sort of change, we will see moments like this time and time again, even on days that should be euphoric here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And you know that you've met with Governor Parson, with other mayors of large cities in Missouri, and steps to try to work on mental health resources and witness protection. How is it working? What are we doing? We're seeing things like this still happening given what's been going on.
You know, our efforts never stop. Right? The mayors and the governor, we started meeting about 3 months ago. And I commend my fellow governors, including the mayor of the city of St. Louis, which has a problem even in some ways more dramatic than our own. And we all said, we're not going to sit back and just say this is what we're used to. We're going to try to make a difference. So the governor just a few days ago announced in a State of the State speech more resources. I look forward to working with him. I'll be working with our law enforcement partners from the federal government. And so I guess what I would say is this. We aren't just now starting some new efforts. Those have not been fully rolled out, but we will continue to make sure we're addressing them until we get beyond this problem. But then there's this other thing, which is these fools that go into clubs and shoot them up, or any of these number of things that we've seen already this year. We need to continue to try to address those people, make sure they're incarcerated when they've been convicted the first time of gun-related offenses, and more to the point, make sure that we're creating other opportunities in our communities so people aren't doing these sorts of things.
A wonderful day turned into kind of a tragic morning here in Kansas City, but we appreciate you taking time this morning.
Thank you all.
Very much for
Thank you,
being with us
Mayor.
here at 41.